So in this video here, I'm going to be showing you guys the process that I use to treat this water that you're actually looking at here and make it usable to make lime plaster and cement. This is actually the water that was pumped out of here that flooded earlier in monsoon season. So here we go. This is all the rainwater, or not all of it, but part of it. So this is all rainwater in these totes, some in this barrel, and I cut the top off this barrel. And I also have 7 or 8 more barrels over by the hole in the ground that you've seen in earlier videos. So I have the water pump on, and I have it hooked up to a small inverter in that little shed there. There's one solar panel on top. It's just hooked up to a battery. It's a DC. So I wanted to show you guys, this is pure rainwater. Actually, it's surface water, which makes it even nastier. So I'll show you guys what it looks like right now. So I'm pumping this out of this barrel, and I pump it into this barrel. This barrel here is the treatment barrel. And I'm going to show you guys, after this fills up, I'm going to show you what I do to treat this water. And it's real easy to do. You just need to buy a few chemicals, and they're not that expensive. And the water, I want to repeat this, the water is not being used for drinking water or for watering my plants. It's being used to mix concrete, cement, and plaster. That's it. So I'm not using this for anything else. So yes, I'm going to use the chemicals, but I have a reason for it. It's a very fast way to do this. So here you go. It's nasty looking. Okay, so here are 2 of the 3 chemicals that I'm using here. The other one is actually just a chlorine / shock treatment. It's bleach basically. You can use bleach too, but the stuff that I get is for pools, and this stuff is also for pools, and this is the order in which I use these, and I use less than a capful of each. Okay, so this is the first one here, actually combines the small particles into larger ones, and this is like a coagulator, so it combines them together. So there's a lot of small dirt particles in here and all kinds of other nasty stuff. And the second one, after you do that, it sinks them to the bottom. So it's a flocculant is what it's called, flocculant. Now this is what they're using in water treatment plants. It's the same concept, all right? And so at first, I've already treated this water with a lot of chlorine, so the shock has already been done. That's why I'm not showing this right now. But so what I'm going to do here is, I can't hold my phone doing this, but I'm just going to show you what the final water looks like and how disgusting it is. And then I'm going to use these. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stir this first one into the water, less than a capful, and I'm going to use my stirring stick and just stir it in there real good. Stir it for about a minute, and then I'm just going to let it sit. I'm going to let it sit for, probably a couple hours. And then after that, I'm going to add this stuff, and then I'm going to stir it in same way, and then I'll show you guys the magic. All right, so last night I added the coagulant to the water supply here, and as you can see, it's still pretty darn cloudy. So now I'm going to add the flocculant to this, and it's supposed to sink, well, it actually does, I've already used it, but it sinks the particles to the bottom, so it should clear this water up quite a bit here. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. Like I said, use this stuff and just put a capful in, because the stuff's meant for swimming pools, so it's like, the ratios are pretty large. You do not want to over treat this stuff, because it'll actually have the opposite effect. So I'm going to add that. So I added it and stirred it. As you can see right now, it's about as murky as you can get. You can't see anything in there. It's just all particles and stuff like that. So I'm just going to leave it sit and see what happens. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see it. Hopefully you can, but if I get close here, you can see all the particles that are starting to clump together. So they're clumped together, and then what's going to happen is they're going to sink to the bottom, and that's what happened last time. So I'm just going to wait for that to happen. I'm not going to keep filming it, because it takes a little while. It takes a couple hours, a few hours, depending on how much water you're treating. But I'm only doing 55 gallons at a time, and the reason for that is because generally, like what I was watching videos of water treatment facilities, they do like these huge vats, and they're you know, custom made vats. They have these huge turbine churning things at the bottom, and it's a whole system. So when they do it, they have, you know, a system of stirring it a certain consistency, certain speeds. It's really pretty complex. But for this here, it's real easy to do 55 gallons at a time with this. I mean, like I said, these chemicals are meant for actual pool treatment, so you can do 10,000 gallons at a time. But for this, it's, you know, I'm using 55 gallons at a time to make lime plaster right now for this thing. And I've already used 55 gallons, so now I'm treating the next 55 gallons. So we're going to let it do its magic here, and we'll check back in. Alright, so now I come back out here. I want to show you guys the water. You see? So you can see the bottom now. This hasn't even been sitting for, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes at the most. But that's it. It's already settling pretty good. Now, the implications of this are pretty cool. Like, so what you would do next, in theory, is after this settles a little more, then what you would do is you would take this water right here, say this 55 gallons of water, pump it out, minus the stuff at the bottom. You would pump it out of here into another barrel that's full of like a gravel. All right, and then what you do is you filter it through that gravel. And then you would take that water and pump it into another sand filter. And then from there, you could even do a charcoal filter. And then what you end up with is water that is a lot, like very pure, and you could actually make this water like almost crystal clear. Now, as far as drinkability, I'm not going to drink it. You know, I'm not even going to try to drink it. Just, I don't need to, you know. I can just get water, you know, from the store, the little stations there. But eventually, you know, if we get good at this stuff, that's just the kind of stuff you can do. So unless I took it to a lab and had it tested, which is what I would end up doing if I really had like a system put together for this, to like a bigger water system, then I would, you know, actually have the water lab tested just to see what's in it. And because that's what they do at water facilities anyways. They get it tested, you know, quarterly to see the quality of the water. It's a water quality report. So you know, you want to do things kind of the same way. So, but for this, for lime plaster purposes, I'm pretty comfortable with using this. It's a little bit murky in there, I mean, compared to the last batch I did. So, but like I said, this has only been sitting for 35 minutes, and it could probably use another treatment of chlorine, because it's been sitting for a while without the chlorine. The chlorine, so what I did last time was, you know, you chlorinate the water, and then you pump it out into open air like this and stir it up a few times during the day, and then that chlorine is going to dissipate. It does, it just dissipates. You can read up on that. And once it dissipates, that's when I put these two chemicals in here and then let it do its magic. But man, it really is like magic. I mean, look at that, it's crazy. So, I mean, you look at the last one. So anyways, I'm just gonna share that with you guys, and a little food for thought there. And I'm gonna actually take this water now and start using it to mix our plaster.